now that I know we're working, we're live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Comics Are Dope Live. I am here with Stranger Comics' own Mr. Seb Jones. We are here. We're in the final week of the campaign for the Tales of Asunda tome. So big omnibus, volume 1.
Yeah.
Now, the decision to call it a tome and not an omnibus, what's behind that?
God, so I tell you what, we were definitely toggling back and forth between tome and omnibus. And I think for the search engines, the omnibus might have been a smarter move, but tome felt like it had weight to it. It was like the Tales of Asunder tome. And because we're fantasy, right? I mean, it just, I actually have a printed copy right here. Look at that.
Nice.
It just fit really nicely right there. Oh, look at me. I'm big, I'm grand. So yeah. And because we do the fantasy stuff, we can get all tomish. And we do have D&D material in the back of these books. So you can read the books and then play the game and then hopefully watch the film. So yeah, the tome is live, folks. So if you like beautiful hardcovers, and we actually did also a reversible wraparound dust jackety thing as well.
Wow.
As we are wanting to do. Oh, look at me, I've faded. There we go. So yeah. So we trying to get into the frame here. There we go. Boom. So yeah. Here is the tome.
Wow.
With the gold foil and all the rest of it. Yeah.
I've only seen that. I think Alex Ross has done that with a couple of books with like the huge artwork on the dust jacket for his art books. That's awesome.
Let me show. This is not the first one too. So what we've done for actually all of our hardcovers is, if you look at this Naibi Shear's Life, this is probably the most famous one that I have. This art is done by Hyung, the lead artist for The Last of Us, who we've been working with since the jump off. Look, there's Amanda Stenberg over here. No, over here, reverse. There's me. I wanted to dress up. So we've done this for all of our beautiful hardcovers. This is Viola did the forward and the hardcover, which is amazing. We did the foil right there, and more artwork by Hyung right there. So yeah, we really kind of put our foot into these beautiful dust jackety hardcover editions, right?
That's amazing.
You got that there, right, that there. And so these have become very popular. So for the new hardcover for this giant omnibus tome, we decided to go all out. I'll show you one other one, and without driving you guys crazy, but this is one of my favorite ones, the Dusu one, because the interior art is a little unexpected and rather beautiful. So we've got the gold foil on the Dusu, but then also this amazing illustration right there.
Wow.
So yeah, we do. We have 6 hardcovers before the omnibus came out, or the tome is coming out on the Kickstarter. So for our fans who love collecting everything in the world of Asunder, they could get something new and exclusive and pretty rad and pretty rare, So yeah, we do have the regular editions without the dust jackets on the campaign as well. Yeah, you can get both different options. So yeah.
Nice.
That's me, yeah. And this is done by a Jamaican artist, Sheldon Mitchell. And you can see actually, without diverting too much, if you saw The Woman King, another tie-in, that is Tuso Mbedu, one of the stars of The Woman King, who is also the lead in Children of Blood and Bone, with Viola and Amanda Stenberg, who of course did, that original Naibi Shear's Life book.
Wow.
So yeah, before I start rambling and going off on tangents, that's that's on the Kickstarter with a whole bunch of other goodies.
Nice. So we got a few comments here.
Okay.
Meet John says, beautiful art.
Thank you.
Cosmortal Comics says Niobe's fantastic.
Oh,
just dropped my video today on issue 2.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Carlos T 3000 says nice. And let's see. Okay, that's so we're now caught up on these comments. So I want to back up a little bit because Seb,
Yeah.
this interview is quite a long time in the making. So
Right.
I've got to give a shout out to my man Kevin Koss, who in the very early days of this channel introduced me to your work and was like, "You two need to connect. You got to have him on the channel." And at the time, I was going live every Thursday, but you were also going live every Thursday, and it was like we couldn't make it work.
Right.
And
Right.
here we are. That's been at least 3 years ago.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. I
And
do
now,
apologize. I take responsibility.
oh no,
So thank you.
it's all good. I mean, it was 3 years and a couple of kids ago, so it was busy on my end as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when you reached out, I was like, "Oh, I gotta tell Kev this." So I don't know if he's watching, but I told him like it's finally happening. So
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that.
So what I want to know, because I'm kind of treating this like a typical podcast episode, even though we're live, for the audience who may be hearing of you for the first time somehow.
Sure.
What's the story of Stranger Comics and this world of Asunda that you've been throwing us into for a little while?
Yeah, thank you. So the world of Asunda is a fantasy world, right? So if you like Lord of the Rings, if you like Game of Thrones, you might like what we do. And goodness, it's been with me since I was a kid, since I was probably about 13 years old. I'm now 52. Yikes. And I grew up in England, and I spent some time in the boarding house at that age in the 80s. Was at times a little frightening for me. And I think what I was doing, and I was getting into D&D at the same time, and reading The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and I'm mixed, and I grew up in a very kind of predominantly white boarding house, and so there's a lot of racial abuse, and so I think I created this world that I could hide in, and I created this character Niobe that I could kind of put all of my insecurities and my vulnerabilities onto her winged shoulders, but also my wrath. And as I grew, she grew with me, and the world I was creating started to grow around her, and so on. And I was also wrestling at the time, I think, with my sense of justice, I guess, for a teenager, and my rage. And so a lot of kids really kids that were really struggled with it, and you couldn't run and tell the teacher, not in those days, so I think early on, creating this character Niobe, it was very much also she also deals with rage and the duality of spirits, right? Half elven, half human, half angel, half demon, to reflect the duality of spirit that we share. And anyway, that really, I got into a lot of trouble during that time. My temper really got the better of me a lot. So it was extreme. It was extremisms. Anyway, so I moved to America when I was 18 by myself, and my family followed me out. And I set up a record label for a lot of years, putting out historical jazz and old blues, old soul, stanky funk, really rare funk, jazz funk. So if you like Alice Coltrane or Donald Byrd to Roy Ayers to Robert Johnson, I put out 25 albums, like an audio encyclopedia of roots American music. But during that time, I was always creating these worlds. I was playing a lot of D&D, a lot of live action role playing, Warhammer, because I'm a super nerd. And after the record label, I'd kind of wound it down because suddenly you could get everything I was putting out online for free on, it was a Napster, and you could just, CDs were over.
Yeah.
And I was still creating this world, and I was shocked I didn't want to create a company again. That was, after running a record label with a lot of intriguing stories, I'll say. It's a tough business, dangerous business. I I just want to create. I just want to write, create. And I used to write the liner notes for my albums.
Mm.
And I was trying to write scripts on Microsoft Word. I didn't know what I was doing. And my mum was like, you should be a plumber. This is not good, right? And I was like, yeah, okay, thanks, mum. So I shot these ideas around. And so when I was bringing the idea of a Marvel universe of fantasy with a lead that looked like this, most comic companies were like, we don't do fantasy comics, they don't sell. We don't do black-led comics, they don't sell. And we don't do female-led comics, they don't sell. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing all three. and and that really made me like, even with investors, I was like, I guess I'm going to have to start another company to protect the integrity and the vulnerability and the power of Niobe. And that started Stranger Comics. And there are many, many horror stories back then of people trying to rip me off, trying to sue me, trying to just destroy my company from the jump. That's with people that wanted it, and then the people that didn't want it were just overt racism and craziness and death threats and all sorts of hilarious things back in those days. Yeah, early days of Stranger Comics were kind of wild.
And what year was that when you officially started Stranger Comics?
So we started 2008, and we came out with the first issue of The Untamed at San Diego Comic-Con in 2009 for The Untamed, A Sinner's Prayer. This is the trade paperback of it, but the regular edition looks kind of like this. And actually, we just dropped a re-release in stores because it never made it to stores based on all those kind of craziness.
The final order cutoff for that, I want to say, was today, or maybe there was.
It was yesterday. I think. Yeah, you might be. You was today. Okay. Oh snap. Okay. So there you go. Yes. Hopefully you guys got your pre-orders in. And then we did this beautiful cover right here with Young, lead artist of The Last of Us, back then, 2009. That's that edition. And this was done by Peter Bergting, who works a lot with Mike Mignola and does covers in Sweden for like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Big fantasy artist over there. And I was with a buddy of mine back then, emailing him going, I'm a big producer. You should do my stuff. And by the time he realized I was full of shit, he was like, okay, what's this story? And I pitched him the idea, and he's like, that's amazing. I'm in. And it took from start to finish, we took 7 to 8 years painting this book. Crazy.
So, I hear of Stranger Comics, I guess, first maybe 2021 or so.
Sure.
And, by then, it's by all accounts, this wild success story. My introduction to the series was someone saying, hey, I'm upgrading to hardcovers of all of my Stranger Comics paperbacks. You can have the paperbacks. So there's like this, I think what I took to was Niobe, but I've got it all over here on the shelf, but it was just like, okay, I've got like 8 books I got to read now. What? This is quite the world that's been built here. But so obviously you found success, but like, how was it starting a comic book company, learning as you're putting out these products and iterating, to being where you are now?
It was, I think I didn't expect it to have for the grind, the attrition. When I started, I was still in my mid-30s, so I had a lot more energy. But one thing I found was extremely difficult was learning I think I tried to probably bit off more than I could chew to start with. I tried to do too much. Like, I would have this book and this book and so on. I was new to the cost. the time it would take away from my loved ones, how much time needed to be spent on being on the road, going to a convention with one comic book, learning social media, which I'm terrible at, how to connect with fans, how to it was a grind, and it still is. It's a real 7 days a week gig, because here's the thing, that with a lot of independents, they fall into two categories, and you guys in the chat probably know this, which is there's one independent kind of group which is very well funded, Silicon Valley funded, been big cash injections or whatever, and there's another group that fall into, a lot of folks have their day job and they work on this as their extra job or career, and so on. And for us, from an early stage, it was, this is our full-time job. So if we don't make X at this convention, we're out of business. And we've had to live like that with no funding. The only person that gave me any kind of funding was my mum, who gave me a little bit of money to print the first comic book. Apart from that, it was all on a credit card, and I was going through a divorce at the time. So it was excruciating. It was very difficult. Emotionally, financially, and all the things. So it was tough. It was very tough. Yeah.
So you're bootstrapping this company yourself. What's the most surprising lesson you learned through that?
I think how to navigate the aloneness of you and your company and your IP, your product, your writing, your crafting, everybody's looking to you when people work for you, whether it's at a booth or, my one or two staff members, and very little time for respite to get nurtured from your family time, father time, loved one time. Otherwise, you run out of time to survive within this business as costs of printing goes up, shipping prices go up, mailing prices go up, convention prices go up, table prices, renting at a convention goes up, learning on the go. You really, aloneness with that, and really heavy is the head that wears the crown, and having to really learn quickly how to navigate margins. And even though I'm from the record business, so I understand, and I used to be an actor for some time, the nuances of artists and ego and sensitivity and vulnerabilities is very delicate, and nurturing and support, and trying to put your best foot forward and stumble, and it's not easy. So but the one question is probably the aloneness of it all.
Yeah. So fun fact, and I guess it's channel lore at this point, but before I got into comics, I was also in the music industry. I was working. I was in artist management. I was managing a rapper out of Toronto, and then another from my hometown, who was also the best man at my wedding. But we were doing sort of conscious rap, super lyrical stuff at a time where that wasn't really, the big thing. And so
what year was this?
This was, all through college, and then until I stayed in music business until 2020. During the pandemic, I had a podcast. I was interviewing all sorts of behind the scenes players, and it got to a point where it was because I had built up a coaching program, basically just teaching people how to hey, here's how you register all your copyrights and stuff, so you can sell music out of your trunk or wherever you're going to sell it from, build your audience, and then go make your money touring was the whole model. And in 2020, when everything kind of shut down, it was I don't want to keep selling this coaching program that has, the golden ticket is touring. and all the venues are shut down.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
supposedly I was taking a break, but in that time is when I started this channel, and comics just kind of took over my life. And I realized
Okay.
I wasn't really in love with the music industry as much as I was just with
Mm.
being around creatives and helping to facilitate that. So
Interesting.
even just having conversations like
Mm.
this, it's like it for me, it scratches the same itch as being in
Right.
the studio did. And I don't have to stay up till 2 in the morning to do it. And there's lights on. It's like my room isn't black. It's amazing. So,
Yeah.
you know, um,
For sure. For sure.
but for me, I find that, the comics community, especially in this indie creator space, is very much the same as the music industry. It's just people trying
Mm.
to make art their living,
Yep. Yep.
in whatever way they can. But
Yeah.
I do feel like being in the music industry kind of prepares you for comics in a way that nothing else really could.
Right.
Because in the music industry, you kind of expect that someone's trying to get over on you, and so you go into
Oh yeah.
comics and you hear all the horror stories about like someone's IP was stolen or this was work for hire and now they made billions and I'm penniless and all of the things. Coming into comics from music, was that at the top of your mind, or was it just like you it was just kind of serendipitous to do it?
I yeah, I think when I got into comics, as far as um, the music industry preparing me, I think it did prepare me for if you're used to different types of intriguing people, like gangstery type folks from different walks of life, to corporate gangstery folks, to shady contracts. Record company people are shady, right? I mean, you are used to it. So when you meet various folks who run companies and they're also shady, but they look at you like, hey, you're a comic guy. I think it did give me a bit of an advantage, I would say, in going, oh, okay, I'm used to these not nice people, and I'm also used to corporations looking for um, a one-hit wonder or looking for a hashtag, which is was always the other thing with some of the comic companies I met with. They were like, "Oh my God, okay, yes, I want to do this. This would look great during a Black History Month announcement." And I'm like, "What? I'm sorry. This is oh yeah, but this is really timely, which is something that we hear a lot with when you're doing comics with Black leads. I've heard it for 17 years, like, oh, this is really timely. And I'm always like, we've always been timely. This isn't timely. This is timeless. This is why I'm doing this. And so there were, for the ones that were supportive, they were disappointing, um, or they were disinterested, or they were treacherous. So coming from the record business, it was like, okay, all right, here are people in power, positions of power corrupt, and it attracts people that can move communities through storytelling or any kind of media, right? It creates personalities that come in to go, I can I can control a narrative and therefore I am empowered. So it can also attract some of the best people. I've met absolutely amazing people in both the music industry and in the comic space, but some not so good folks. But it also, I tell you, one thing that we're known for, which is, you've probably seen these,
Mm-hmm.
is allowing us to kind of bridge certain gaps, which is why we do all these kind of fun homages to the era, the conscious stuff that I grew up with. Yeah, all sorts of fun.
That's
Yeah,
Low End Theory. Just before that was Midnight Marauders, both the Tribe Called
you got
Quest
it.
albums.
All right, so let's go. Let's see.
Gosh, which one that's Sade?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sade, the Love Deluxe. This is an easy one,
Ah, of course. It's the Wu Tang logo.
right? Sure. Okay, there we go. My lighting is awesome.
3 feet high and rising. De La Soul.
There you go. Yep.
This is hip hop trivia. Stank on you.
There you
Nice.
go. This one's easy,
Missing Education of Lauryn Hill. Nice.
right? This one is a bit trickier.
Okay.
A bit trickier.
You're right. That is trickier.
So think of another soul sister from the 90s. These wings are pretty accurate to the album cover, and it's from a live album.
Live album with wings.
Yep, this got butterfly wings in the live album in this color, but it's still it is a tricky one. So just go down who are the other kind of conscious soul sisters of the 90s?
I'm trying to think of who even did live albums. So it wouldn't have been Erica.
It's Erica. It's the Erica Badu live album. It's
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the one. Yeah, it's a bit of a deeper cut, but yeah. And then this is the other super easy one.
Ready to Die. Even says ready for death.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, and what's really fun, and talking about what we do, try and build community, is the cosplayer on Niobe is the mom of the cosplayer on this one right here. So
wow.
I had no idea back then when we first came out with Niobe, just to segue is I had no idea we had cosplayers until we did we went to a couple of conventions and we're like, what's going on here? Why is Niobe in the booth? And like, there are cosplayers. It was just, I think to kind of dovetail to what you were saying earlier, it was like, I think since starting Stranger Comics, I'm just trying to tell the stories I want to tell and create and learning on the go and in an organic, intrinsic way. And then all these wonderful things, can reaffirm that, yeah, you're on the right path, kid, or not kid anymore, but you're on the right path,
Yeah. I went to New York Comic Con, sort of in 2024, and passed by the Stranger Comics booth. And it's just a massive presence. Like the impact that Stranger Comics has had, it's just been awesome to see.
Thank you.
And I feel like, I don't know, I think it's easy to kind of get wrapped up or caught up in that, right? But it's also easy to undersell it. Like the Tales of a Cinder tome funded in 9 minutes on Kickstarter.
It did, yeah.
And, you guys have done several campaigns, 10 campaigns at this point, all funded, all like well overfunded even. And each a bit bigger than the last. And of course, there's been some huge news about you guys as of late. You want to share it?
No, you go for it. This is your channel.
Okay, all right. So we've got a movie. We've got a movie coming. Viola Davis is signed on to produce this film, and there's also an anime in the works. Like you just got everything happening.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been nutty, and I think to talk about the Kickstarter real quick. What's really crazy is when we launched the Kickstarter, we were on 0 landing page. You literally couldn't find us anywhere. You typed in Stranger Comics and you couldn't find us. That got rectified today for the first time with 5 days to go or 6 days to go or something. Like, hey, people can type in Stranger Comics and finally find us.
Wow.
But on pre-launch, we were on no landing page. You type in comics, we were nowhere to be found. So we estimate that we lost about 300 backers, and a lot of money. So literally, thanks to the Stranger Comics community and having the link and coming to a launch event and being just beautiful and amazing, supporting what we do, is the reason that we're successful. And I try and give as much stuff as possible. I do these live streams. You come on the live stream, you back the Kickstarter when I'm on the live, or you increase your pledge. I start just giving stuff. So it's always a beautiful give relationship. But Kickstarter, we should be, after the Viola Davis news, we should be stratosphere. But that's the Stranger Comics community, and I guess doing 17 years of being on the road and building up relationships with wonderful people, even during such a hard financial time. So shout out to the Stranger Comics community. But Viola Davis, crazy. She did the forward in the original hardcover, like I was saying. And we have a quote from her in there that we use, which is, we all have a Niobe inside ourselves, and it's time to let her roar. So when I got that quote from that forward from Viola, I was like, what? This is amazing. And back in where we first kind of started talking with Juvie, they wanted to make the Niobe movie or TV show. And we made a deal at that time instead with HBO. And we were at HBO in development for a lot of years. It didn't work out. And so after we left HBO, we reconnected with Viola's company and with Julius, who is amazing, Viola's husband, who is just been such a wonderful supporter. And we're like, let's team up. Let's team up. So we teamed up, and to protect, again, always comes back to protecting the integrity, vulnerability, and power of Niobe. And who better to do that than Viola and Julius? So that's really important. And I get to direct, which is crazy, and a huge honor. And then we also dropped the Niobe anime trailer. We printed a little comic that people can claim live when I'm on these lives, and nice. all sorts of fun things. But the goal was the Untamed live action, where you first meet Niobe, and then Niobe anime. And I had the honor of being so here's something crazy. So there's an artist that I work with named Tahani Farr. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. She let me see if I can grab her cover. I've got it somewhere. She did something hilarious, which is do a cover of me as the stranger right here. You got some Tahani stuff, I'm sure.
I do. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's on the Kickstarter too. She's done some crazy stuff on the Kickstarter. Let me see if I can find it as well. Of course, it's the one right at the bottom. So we have even things like, check it out, guys. We've got foil forged onto metal editions. So Tahani was at Comic-Con Africa, and she tells me, and Tahani also, by the way, does this cover. This is the Tahani Farr cover on the amazing, on the tome. And that is the actress Thuso Mbedu of The Woman King, and so who's from South Africa. So Tahani calls me, she's like, hey, you have Niobe fans out in South Africa. I'm like, what's going on? So there's Comic-Con Africa. So she puts me in touch. We get flown out to Comic-Con Africa. It's huge. It's maybe not San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con big, but it's not far off, honestly. And it's indoor and outdoor. It's if it's not as big, it's pretty dang close. And it was black folks, white folks, brown folks, all celebrating, young folks, and geeking out. And there was a person that came up to me, and he was like, you're the Niobe guy. Can you meet my mom? And I'm like, what? And because of you, I got into animation. And then they flew me out to Comic-Con Cape Town. And then at Comic-Con Cape Town, I met these animators. And I'm like, hey, I want to make the Niobe anime. I don't want to wait on a studio. I don't want to wait on anybody. And I want to make it. So let's do it. Let's figure this out. I don't know how, but let's figure it out. So we dropped the Niobe sizzle trailer on an event I call StrangerCon, where I launch a Kickstarter and have guests. And with no press whatsoever, no big social media influencer, Nerdist, shout out to Nerdist, Ty Good at Nerdist. They gave us a lot of love, and Ty's amazing. But apart from that, Ty's amazing. So I do want to honor her. We're at close to 30,000 views, which is great for just it being word of mouth amongst the comic community. And we're going to announce the full trailer, show the full trailer at San Diego Comic-Con. So if you haven't seen it, type in Niobe trailer, and you will watch a sizzle that I get to co-direct with two amazing people from South Africa and a beautiful team from South Africa. And I think it's awesome.
So entering into this sort of, multimedia space, right, from
Yeah.
comics, what is most important to you, like to keep, because there's always creative liberties and things that have to get cut and so on. What do you feel like represents the spirit where you're like, all right, if this is in, we're good?
Well, I tell you, it was when I have done deals in the past, and we've been optioned a few times from producers. Like I was optioned by one producer who made the original Watchmen and Hellboy movies and Boogie Nights to Film Roman, who do The Simpsons. Um, I'm always like, Niobe has to be, because I've heard it all, has to be black. You can't change her hair. You can't change core integral things to who this character is. But honestly, I'm a savage when it comes to protecting the spirit of who she is and who these characters are. And I think with some folks, I understand will probably compromise more than me. And I never knock people really because I don't know what goes on, families to feed, bills to pay. In fact, my son's mom used to say, your morality is going to make us starve. So how moral can you be? Like you're juggling different types of morality, right? Can we put our kid through college? Can we, eat food? So you have in real time very real experiences which no one gets to see because everyone sees the presentation and hey, we're at Comic-Con and I don't really kind of get into the petty wars or any of that kind of stuff. It's just not my bag, but coming back to your question is I cannot do it anymore. It's literally was in contracts. You cannot change these characters. Otherwise, I've told so many, I'm always appreciative when people make offers, but I, for the most part, say no to everybody.
So maintenance says, I don't know if Seb Jones is answering questions. That's what he's been doing the whole time. I mean, now if you guys are putting questions in the chat, I haven't seen any. So if you got something here, like let me know. But yeah, we're that's what we're here. I'm asking questions. Seb's answering questions.
I'm probably going on tangents. I'm a big tangent guy. So if you got a direct question, but to BJ's direct question is the creative control is, if I was to be very blunt about it, I don't give it up.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So to answer it directly and simply, the answer is I maintain creative control or it is not going to happen.
Gotcha.
I would rather it stays in comics and the beautiful art form of the graphic novels that we love than it to be on air and it to be not what represents what I think is the spirit of these characters and this world. At least that's where I'm at right now, so hopefully that answers it directly.
Yeah, I think so. So I've got a question because, we're talking about, just all of the massive success and the big wins, right? Do you feel like Stranger Comics is underrated? Like, is there any part of the conversation that you are not in that you feel like you should be in or anything to that? I guess the reason I ask that is because there's been all this talk about supporting Black businesses and indies versus majors and all of the things. And I don't hear Stranger Comics come up a ton, but then at the same time, I've also seen it where it's like, hey, everybody name this many Black creators, but you can't say Stranger Comics because they're too big. It's like, which one is it?
I think that's a great question. Let me make sure I answer it directly. Do I think we're underrated? No, I don't. People, I think me being mixed, people don't know where I fit in sometimes, right? Which is he black? Is he white? Is he brown? What is he? And that becomes, oh, maybe I shouldn't mention him in this space.
Mm.
And then that can be distracting as far as what is the topic of conversation. And I'm always like, I want it to be about Niobe, not about me or Stranger or Deuce or any of these characters, which I think in this day and age becomes too much of the conversation. But also, you also want to know who you're buying from, and that also makes sense. Um, but I don't think we're underrated when people talk about us. I don't think they mention us. I don't think Strange Comics is mentioned a lot, um, which is fine. I don't really care, honestly, um, that much because
Mm.
I'm kind of old school James Brown mentality. I've got mine. I don't worry about his.
Hmm.
And also, if I always look at it like this, if I have $100 and my enemy has $1,000 or a $1, I have $100. So I want to focus on this. If I have $100 and my friend has $1,000 or $1, I still have $100. But I want to root for my friend to have 1,000 and be happy for them rather than getting caught up in my ego, or my jealousy, or whatever that is. Um, so I think if you ask people directly, what do you think of Stranger Comics? They might say it's really good and the art is great. Um, but I definitely notice we don't get brought up in conversations that much. Um, and I go, it's easy to kind of, I guess, have the curiosity as to why.
Hmm.
But if I expend too much energy going, oh, what about, it's just not my nature to be, oh, what about, hey, what about me? Hey, we've been around longer than most, because then it comes across a bit whingy and like, hey, but you're doing great. Is it, for some people it might be jealousy, for some people it might be forgetting, or I can't really quite, I don't know what Seb is. So
Hmm.
is it, like, I just can't concern myself with it. But I will say if there's any kind of frustration is I think we put out beautiful comics and I'd like more people to experience them.
Hmm.
The art, I mean, the art is, the art on this is, you don't find this stuff anywhere in fantasy comics. So I would like more people to talk about it, to experience it, but not from I don't need the praise. I don't care.
I feel you. I think for me, the sort of blind spot was to fantasy as a genre on the whole.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And I
Okay.
think like Thor, for example, like there's not much anyone can do to get me into a Thor comic. And
Right.
the one liner I would give is like I think Thor is Black Panther for white people. Like all of the whatever misgivings people have about Black Panther, it's like I could just flip that and that's Thor. And for whatever
Mm.
reason, it feels impenetrable. And I think maybe part of it is
Mm.
like even a bit of rebellion, right? Like because here in America,
Mm.
at least, we don't get African American history. We don't get African American literature. We get, you know, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien,
Yeah.
Mark Twain, Charles Dickens. And so it's like in this line of like just, I, I don't know other way to say it, just straight up whiteness, right? And
Sure.
so it's like when I look at like, okay, there's elves and orcs and all of these things, and it's like, okay, that sounds like a very different, like it almost feels like difficult to connect with. And
Right.
so I think at the same thing that kind of keeps me like on the fringe is also what invites people in, because there's very much this energy that's like, I have not seen a fantasy starring a black girl. I've not seen
Right.
people that look like us in these situations, given this type of development. Um, what is it about the fantasy genre that stood out to you and that made you want to tackle it?
It saved me as a kid. I mean, it was reading Lord of the Rings.
Mm,
It was escaping into these mythical worlds. And I think, but also at the same time, I discovered Kurosawa.
mm,
So Yojimbo, Seven Samurai, spaghetti westerns, these almost mythological heroes, right?
mm,
As at the same time, I was discovering comic books, but there was something beautifully dangerous about a man with a sword. There's nothing you have to face me front on, and there's something life and death about it, and there's something um, severe um, about it, and you know the beautiful violence of it all. I think I just really connected with that. But one thing that really messed with me was in Lord of the Rings, all the brown people like the Haradrim were like the baddies, right? It was like, oh, people that look like me are the guys seduced by the Dark Lord, and why is he all the Dark Lord? Why are the black is always bad, and this and this and this, and then and I'm probably underplaying it.
mm,
I had a lot of rage, like a lot.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. It was you say the wrong thing, I would pop.
Mm.
And when you're in certain situations and environments on a constant basis and you're backed into a wall and someone's talking about your mother or you're this, you're that, it really, formative years that, so I was like, oh, well, I'm creating this world I'm hiding in. I'm going to create a world where I can rewrite some wrongs and I think, and I don't know if this was a conscious thought though, you know, to tangent my answer, but not intentionally, is when you're young, you don't necessarily have, I'm going to do this. You're just doing.
Yeah.
So creating this fantasy world was, I love fantasy. I love swords. Love orcs. I love elves, but I want to see elves that are taking the medieval inspirations from the African diaspora, from
Mm.
different parts of Asia, as well as the European part, and so on. And so that I guess is just in, it's nothing that was a pre-programmed thought as a
Mm.
young guy. It was, I need to see, I want to tell these stories and I want to see myself and in these stories. Something that we hear a lot nowadays,
Mm.
which is great. Um, but that was just what it was for me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that we talk about seeing ourselves in stories, but that's not like a new concept. Like we talk about it in terms of
Sure.
representation and like, minority groups and so on. But, when I'm speaking to writers, there's no way you can write a character and not put some parts of yourself in that character. There's no way you
Right.
can, take someone on a journey and it be a place that you've never been, regardless
Yes.
of whether or not, the character that you're drawing or writing looks like you, shares your background or so on. But it's like every story has a bit of its creator in it. And so it just happens that when you start opening up to different types of creators, and you'll now start to see different types of characters, different types of stories, but it's not like breaking news. Black people found a different way to do things than everyone else,
Right. I think, um, so I don't forget, remind me what the chap at HBO said to me after I go on a backwards tangent to one of the other questions is, my dear ex who passed away created a book called Brown Sugar Fairies, and we published it. and Rob Edwards, the writer of Princess and the Frog, is going to produce and direct it. And we used to talk about the idea of Black folks in the space of fantasy and the freedom of that imagination, and the disconnect to the African folklores and fairy tales and the Caribbean, because she was Caribbean, folklore and fairy tales that she was extremely well versed in, and understanding how many European folklores and fairy tales have pinched and stolen and whatever from rooted African folklore and fairy tales. So when folks do have a disconnect to it because they're so, I don't say indoctrinated or brainwashed or whatever, but used to, whatever it is, hey, that's King Arthur. Hey, that's The Hobbit. Hey, that's this. Hey, that's this. There's not a space. I mean, bro, since I posted on Instagram the Viola Davis news, the amount of comments going, stay in your lane. Oh, when we was Kangs, right? I literally get like 10 a day. I go, all right, delete block, delete block. And sometimes I'm kind of curious. I'll click and it'll be a guy with God first, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, or Jesus is king or something. I'm like, how can you be so condemning? It's just, it is wild to me. Oh my God, I've got so much hate from this. And then yet here's the counterpoint, is like to what you were saying earlier, is folks that have experienced generational trauma have the opportunity, or the is it intrinsic to be able to connect to imagination, what can be possible beyond the scope of what's here on Earth. What's a superhero? Okay, but you're still in New York, or you're still in Los Angeles. Can the imagination flutter? And when we talked about, and this feels always so arrogant to talk about, because I hate coming across like some, up my own arse, like dickhead, is we would talk about why her or why me, right? When you're creating fantasy. And she's like, and she was a very spiritual person, and I miss her dearly, but she was said the ancestors are speaking through you. You're not, I'm not like, hey, time for me to read this folklore and fairy tale. Hey, time for me to read these passages and read this. It's, I put on music, like certain types of songs or sounds of frequency, and start writing and creating and connecting something which is make-believe. But obviously the inspiration comes from my childhood, experiences, family, friends, songs, movies, books, comics, and so on. So to what you were saying as well, but I just wanted to get that out there, as far as the opportunity to create and connect with something that's so fantastical, and go, yeah, this is us, this is it, these are the roots. And she would explain a lot better than I would. But when I was at HBO, the reason why, one of the biggest reasons I signed with them, was there was a guy who ran the head of drama at that point, and he had read The Untamed, and he had said to me, "Can I ask you a question, sir?" With this character from this book, he said, "Is the stranger you?" And I'm like, well, yeah, he's me wanting to be a better man. And what would I do to be a better man? What would I sacrifice to be a better man, a better father? And then all those types of things. And he goes, "Can I ask you something else? Is Niobe you?" And I'm like, I felt really seen. And I'm like, yeah, she's my opportunity to be that better man. She's this man's conscience. She could be my conscience. But she's also wrestling with this duality of spirit, this rage and love and hate, and the angel and the demon that we all share. And she's also mixed like me, and like, okay, we can fit in, but where do we belong? We're still looking to find our tribe, and that's a struggle for her. And the what it is to lead and the weight of responsibility to lead when you just want to play.
Mm.
So to what you were saying earlier, I do very much. If you want to know about me, read The Untamed. It'll tell you a lot.
Got you. I appreciate that answer. First of all, I think it unlocked something in me, right? Like,
Mm,
because like I said, I think I've just kind of been trained to view fantasy as like a genre
mm.
that excludes me, right? And that's not the case at all, right? Like I can think back to like folklore, and we can talk about like Anansi the spider and the signifying monkey, and even to like the Orishas and these Caribbean gods, and like this major like folklore, right? And knowing that and somehow not connecting that to Greek gods and Roman mythology and all the things, all the stories that were told or passed down, that's wild. So it kind of gives me a whole different perspective to approach these
Mm.
things from.
That's cool.
So that's cool. I appreciate that. The other part, you mentioned Rob Edwards, director of Princess and the Frog, and we've got
There it is.
Defiant here,
Yeah.
the story of
Yeah.
Robert Smalls, which was
Mm.
also a Stranger Comics release with Legion M. And
Yeah.
we I did a spotlight on this book, I think during Black
Thank you.
History Month, timely. But
Thank
this book is awesome. Um,
you.
for me, I'm a bit of a like history nerd, and then like
Mm.
it's history, and then like superheroes are my jam. So this
Sure.
book, like I just kind of it just it worked great for me because I was familiar with
Oh, that's
Robert
awesome.
Small's story. And I'm like, of course, like make a comic about
Right.
this guy. Like
Right.
the amount of like just really cool figures that we don't have like biographies on or movies or like even like a little TV miniseries. Like it's like these people live such amazing lives. And it's like,
Heroic.
you know, we we complain about like things that, in comparison are trivial, right? Like, oh, there's
Right.
not enough of this or that in media. And it's like
Right.
these people were like trying to exist and stealing slave ships and hijacking Confederate warships and all sorts of things that were going on. These people ran for office, won their offices, and then survived coups, or in some cases didn't
Right.
survive the coup, right? Like there's such richness in our history, to tap that either from a historical retelling or even just like, fictionalized, like to tap into those the courage and like I said, the richness of all of these things that we've contributed to society and culture is like, why not do that? So really
Thank you.
cool.
Yeah. It was quite an undertaking, a huge responsibility. So when Legion Emma contacted us to make Defiant, um, it was, for starters, we're a little company, so our bandwidth is really tough,
Yeah.
and sometimes we get contacted by studios or the odd celeb or lots of people. Hey, can you publish? Can you publish? I'm like, I would love to, but I just don't have the bandwidth to do this. But with with this particular project, I know one thing about my teammates is if we're going to do something, we're going to do it to the best of our ability and to honor the legacy of this man, who is like truly heroic. And how do you tell a real superhero, a real life superhero, um, and with the 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 respect that he deserves, and then with the liberty of like playing with certain scenes, and
Mm.
but also making sure it's grounded. And boy, it's a real undertaking. And Rob did an amazing job, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have to write, thank goodness, and I get to work with an amazing writer. But we put the Stranger Comics love on it because Daryl May, who lays out all of the Stranger Comics books, did the layout and created something very cinematic.
Mm.
So extremely, so shout out to Daryl and Josh, my editor, because they don't get enough credit. They're amazing. And we're very serious about the quality of the work that we put out. And we were like, hey, if it sells one copy, we want to make sure this man is honored. So yeah, Defiant was a huge honor and a real labor of love.
Nice. And so Matthew Castleberg says last year he wrote a curriculum for K through 8th grade summer camp based on Robert Smalls, and the Defiant graphic novel was his inspiration.
That's crazy. Whoa, that's amazing. Thank you. That's incredible.
That's
awesome.
That's
what it's about. It's just huge honor. Thank you so much. That's incredible. That is incredible.
Maintenance here says he's a fellow Brit. He's launching a Kickstarter campaign next year. Do you have any advice?
For Dark Fantasy comic series, can I add you to my mailing list? Of course, absolutely. I'm pretty easy to find. If you DM me at Stranger Comics, if my advice is back my Kickstarter, read everything. It's really good. We've got great ebooks, save on shipping. It's perfect. And my Dark Fantasy is honestly, it's pretty good. DM me at Stranger Comics, email me at stranger@strangercomics.com. I'm kind of a crazy, busy guy, but I'm accessible. If you DM me on IG, you'll get me. Here's my advice: is when you're creating a big dark fantasy world, don't get bogged down in the universe of it all. Realize that a lot of it's been done before, but you're going to make it uniquely your own with your voice. And a lot of times when folks, and I do lectures on this stuff, and it's the same advice I always say is, if you're like, hey, I've got this one race here or this one territory here, and I need to figure this all out. We're not Tolkien. We don't have 20 years. And enjoy exploring your world. Enjoy creating flora, the flowers, giving them backstory, the animals, the trees, the gods, the dragons, all those various things. Have your basic framework. But ultimately, what I've realized with my fantasy world, no one cares unless they care about the character. And as long as you're telling a compelling story with okay, so I'll if you put me in BJ, I'll give some fun little advice, right? Sure. So here's what I do with my characters. First page of the Untamed is, let's see, I can share it from the hardcover, it's a bit easier. The first line I've got here is, I'm going, I don't know if you can see it, but it says, I'm going home. I'm going home. And when I pitch this, coming back to what BJ was talking about earlier, getting him into fantasy, well, this is a spaghetti Western set in a fantasy world. The mood of a Yojimbo, the mood of something that, if you're overrun with fantasy and dragons, it's just too much, start with a simple story. With Niobe, I started with a question. These are always good things to do when you're writing and creating. Is a lot of times people ask you the right of the question, but I always kick them right back with a question. So it puts them on their heels a little bit. With Niobe, the first question on this right here, it says, what haunts you? So the goddess is asking Niobe what haunts her, but she's also asking you, the reader, what haunts you? Allowing you, the reader, immediately to put yourself in Niobe's shoes. And that's something that I ask when I talk about the Untamed. So when people come to the booth, or I pitch HBO, or I pitch you right now, I'll ask you guys the question that will start you on this book, The Untamed. So here we go. I'll give you the pitch, and that will also help you maybe realize it's about the story, not about the world. Here we go. Would you damn your family to save the world? The Untamed is a story of a man who's stuck in purgatory. And after 10 years, the devil comes along and he says, I'll give you 7 days to reap the 7 souls that murdered you and your family. He says, well, sign me up. He takes a drifter's return to a one-horse town in a huge world. As his memory comes back in broken shards, he realizes when he was alive, he was a bad man and maybe he deserved to die. But now he's on a path to save his family. On his path of vengeance to save their soul, he meets a little elven girl, and her name is Niobe. And she reminds him of how old his murdered daughter would have been, giving this man a second chance that we men need to be a good man, even a father. But he only has 7 days. The kicker is, what if she's one of the 7 souls he has to collect? And the devil set the whole thing up just to find her. Would you damn your family to save the world? Because if Niobe can stay alive in the Untamed, maybe she'll grow up to become my world's savior or destroyer. So, character, story, keep it contained before you go off and do the grand operatic, big dark fantasy universe. If you can fall in love with the stranger and Niobe, what would you do? Would you kill her? Would you, and then create something, I think, which is cinematic, right? Something that allows a reader to connect. So if you're like, like BJ was saying earlier, if you're like maybe not a big fantasy guy, well, how else can I get BJ interested before we see dragons and things? He might have watched a spaghetti western. He might have seen a Kurosawa samurai movie. If he likes that, he's going to love this, not realizing he's falling in love on a slow burn into a big fantasy world.
Nice.
I don't know if that helps at all.
Matthew says that was incredible.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So, speaking of the campaign, now,
yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. I did it right. So,
oh, look at that shared screen, and I haven't done any comments on here because I can't access the comments unless I bounce out, and I don't want to be rude. So I'll just leave a comment here. And Kev, I see Kev is in the chat. Kev Pitts, I love you, bro. You're amazing. Hey guys, bum bum bum. There you go. Yeah.
So, the Tales of Ascended Tome, and the new Untamed comic D&D module, all in this campaign. We got 5 days to go. Like I said, we've overfunded the goal, but that means we're in stretch goal territory, right?
A lot of stretch goals. A lot of stretch goals. A lot of freebies.
Nice. So got the Daryl May cover, which we just talked about. Daryl May does all of the layouts for the Stranger comics.
Yeah,
that's a cool Batman homage. Love that.
Thank you.
A lot of stretch goals. So we've got the wallpaper pack, litho pack of Caden White's Untamed set, Daryl May Wishing Well wrap, trading cards, metal trading cards, foil forged metal version. And now the last stretch goal at 120K is a Tahani mini print for all of the backers at $100 plus, and you get the miniature for free. So that's cool.
Full-on Navi miniature, yeah. And at $100 already, you get the Daryl May wraparound Dura and Stranger. It's stunning in person. We just got a sample in. Yeah. So for folks in the chat, now is the time to back the Kickstarter. I tell you what I would do. Here's my pitch to you guys in the chat. If you back the Kickstarter and leave a comment, say, I love comics are dope, I will give you a hip hop variant for free. All right. So anyone that loves comics are dope, leave a comment, or whatever BJ wants in the comment, leave a comment, and you back the Kickstarter. for $20, I will give you a random hip hop variant homage for free. There you go. That's my gift to you. Go leave a comment. A random hip hop homage, or if you tell me which one you want, maybe I'll make sure you get the one you want. That will be my gift to you for free. Now, remember, if you're in England, shipping is expensive. We have some fans in England that will spend the dough. We ship everything. So on an ebook, it wouldn't work. If it's an ebook and you back something simple, I'll give you another ebook bundle or something for free as well. So back the Kickstarter, let them know you come from Comics Are Dope or BJ Kicks, and I got freebies for you.
Nice. So, so this is the cover for the tome by Tahani Farr, which is awesome. Now, I've got all of the trade paperbacks, but I do not have either volume of Tales of Asunder. So this tome is actually perfect for me. But for those who are in my situation, can you explain what Tales of Asunder is?
Absolutely. So, great question. So Tales of Asunder is something that we decided to do, which collects one-shots. So Tales of Asunder Volume 1 has 4 one-shots, 4 single issues with completed stories. Each one-shot is a completed story, as you know. And Volume 2 is the same. The hardcover has a bonus issue 0 that you can't get in the trade paperback. So BJ, if you were like, hey, I don't want to get the hardcover, I want to continue just getting soft covers, we actually have a collector bundle level 1 for $60 where you can get both collections of the soft covers of Tales of Asunder. If you're like, hey, no, I want to start collecting hardcovers, let me spring for a hardcover, you can get that and get all the extra bonus stuff. But Tales of Asunder has collections of one-shots that help tie other parts of the world together. It'll make sense. There's the special edition one. You just scroll past it. Whiz back up for a quick sec. See, for $40, that's the Ivan Tao Kickstarter exclusive of Volume 2. There's only 100 sets of those. So if you're like, hey, I want the collector edition, but if you want to get both, keep scrolling down to the $60 level. That's collector bundle level 1. And there you go. There it is.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. Now, I mean, you're a pro at all these Kickstarters, but I gotta ask, like, is it hard running so many items in these bundles?
It's what's really tough is on this one, we dropped 2 different things, right? So I think when people come to our campaigns, they get a bit of analysis paralysis, like, oh, this is a lot of stuff to get through. I'll come back to it, or I'll come back to it. So yeah, it's a nightmare to put on a campaign, make it, especially in this day and age, people don't have attention spans. They just look for a headline. Okay, oh, I'm out. For our mega fans, they're like, I love it. More things, lots of variables, the behind the scenes of putting it together, brutal. Shipping, I don't have to ship, so I'm okay anymore. But yeah, it's not a pickle. It's not easy.
Got you. So for those of you guys who want to get everything, but you don't want to have to try to figure out where you're going to put it all, you can get the Read Everything digital bundle. That'll get you,
that's a great one,
every Asunder book in a PDF for $95. That's first of all, that's an amazing price for all of that content.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So yeah, there's a lot here. I guess, so we've got the trade paperback collection. All 8 trade paperbacks will set you back $120. Which again, that's not bad at all. Because, and let me grab mine. Hold on. I just wanted to show y'all for a second because I think it's easy to say, like, hey, look at all these books, look at everything you get. But like, look at everything you get. So you get the Untamed, The Sinner's Prayer, Untamed Killing Floor. You've got Dusu, Path of the Ancient, got Erathun, and then of course my Niobe, trades are over here. So we've got She Is Death, which is volume 2. So I should have said She Is Life first. So all of this plus both of the Tales of Asunda volumes for $120 that's crazy.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah, we really like to hook people up, and signatures are free. You get all the siggies for free, and all the stretch goals, all the goodies. So yeah, back the kick and tell them BJ Kick sent you or Comics Are Dope sent you, and I will make sure you get an extra exclusive. I'll make a note of it, leave it on the comments, and you get an extra exclusive, right? That's my gift to you guys. And the quality of the interiors, just to kind of show you, if you guys want to see how good this Wu-Tang homage is. I'm going to open this, and BJ's a musician, or he's from the music business.
Yeah.
Aisha and I wrote a song. You can scan the QR code and listen to the music that we wrote that she performed. So, and this is the Canaan White art right here. It's rather amazing. There you go. Some beautiful artwork there for you. This is on, and this is in Tales of Asunder. It's Tales of Asunder, Volume 2, Issue 1, Niobe She Tribe. I wrote with Tusa and Bedu of the Woman King. And this is about, are all traditions good, and who are we to judge?
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful, and to the Dusu aspect of it all, the quality of Dusu. Like, you'll see guys, like, if you like great art and you're like, and hopefully you like the stories I write, you'll see art that this took 7 years to paint.
Wow.
So yeah, it's all pretty good stuff. Tales of Asunder. Oh, this is Tales of Asunder Volume 1 trade paperback. Let me show you. Like, it's beautiful stuff right here. So different art styles for different books that we feel represent the specific projects that we do. Young Waso and Dusu with more of a younger style, more anime style. So lots of different art styles. If you're in a fantasy, and even if you're not into fantasy, you might find that you are, you just didn't know it.
Sounds like me. So you guys, I'm putting it in the chat now, but you can go to comicsaredope.com/Asunda to back this campaign. If I can spell. There we go. So go to comicsaredope.com/Asunda. You can leave a comment letting them know that BJ Kick sent you, or you came by way of Comics Are Dope, and then you'll get a nice exclusive tucked in your package as well. Don't forget to check out the Niobe anime sizzle trailer, which is awesome. I did watch it. So
thank you.
Oh, no problem. So again, I'm scrolling through this page. Y'all see where this scroll wheel is? There is so much here for you to dive into, and that is the massive Stranger Comics booth coming to a convention near you. So yeah, there's a lot of really fun stuff happening. Seb, first of all, congratulations on all the success.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to see this project come together. So I'm excited about this campaign, but then also, all the multimedia adaptations that you've got in the works. It's cool. It's really cool to see, just you doing well. So
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I've, honestly, we as indie comic creators can't do it without you. I mean, it's really that simple. It's always those things of be the change you wish to see, support the things you love, support things you want to see. And if you don't support, these things don't exist. So your podcast, spreading the word about who we are and what we do is so massively appreciated. And anyone that even spends $1 on the campaign just to bump the algorithm up, I mean, it goes a lot further than people realize. Like, being shadow banned on the first day was quite exhausting. I was on a live stream for 11 hours and came off to that news and going, what is happening? And I can't get hold of anybody. And so someone sticking a $1 on the campaign helps our algorithm get visible in these last 5 days. Reading a digital copy, just seeing if you like it. That's the beauty of Tales of Asunder, honestly, as well, is you get different comic issues to see. Oh, I like this one. I'm curious about this character now. So you're getting to explore old school Marvel, old school Stranger Tales, kind of thing. So yeah.
Nice. Well, like I said, guys, go to comicsaredope.com/asunder to back this campaign. You only got 5 days left. And if you're not convinced by the time you finish listening to this interview, I don't really know what else to tell you. So, this is really exciting. Again, Seb, thank you for your time. Thanks for reaching out.
Thank you.
I'm glad we could close this loop. And of course,
yeah,
you are channel family now. So you are welcome back anytime.
Super kind. Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody. Comics are dope. So yeah, appreciate it, BJ. Thanks so much.
No problem. All right. Well, I don't know what you're doing after you listen to this interview, but that's going to be all for us. Stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.